Good afternoon, I'm Nick Hope, and thanks for joining us for the next 2 hours of live Diamond League athletics from Stockholm. It's been a quick turnaround this week after the drama of Oslo on Thursday night, but we have a great afternoon of top-class athletics in store for you if you're missing the football and tennis. We'll bring you all the action before 5, but before then, here's a look at what's to come in the next few weeks as well. The Diamond League heads to the fastest track in the world on Friday, as do we. All the action from Monaco on BBC4 from 7 p.m. Gabby and the team are in Gateshead for the British Grand Prix on Tuesday. That's July the 13th. Begin the build-up from BBC 2 at 6:30. Coverage of the Tokyo Olympics starts on Friday the 23rd on BBC 1 with the opening ceremony. And then the Diamond League is back after the cancellation of 2 Chinese legs. Next, we're heading to Eugene on Saturday the 21st of August. So plenty to come before then, and this afternoon we've got some fantastic battles to look out for. He almost broke the world record in this meeting 3 years ago. Juan Miguel Echevarria of Cuba is back to give it another go today. Whilst in the women's long jump, new British champion Jasmine Sawyers is in a tough field, which includes the favourite for Olympic gold, Michaela Mihambo. And after just missing out on breaking his own world record in Oslo on Thursday, Armand Duplantis has the chance to go again here. On the track, new British 800-metre champion Elliot Giles makes his 2021 Diamond League debut just before 10:04. We're hoping for a quick men's 100 metres with Ronnie Baker of America and Britain's CJ Uja in action. And after a stunning victory to claim the British title 2 weeks ago, Keely Hodgkinson is back over 800 metres here as well. What an afternoon we have in store. Let's go straight over to our commentators. We've got Steve Cram and Tim Hutchins to talk us through all the best of the action today.
Victoria Kachuk of Ukraine, 8 times Ukrainian champion, 3rd in Oslo on Thursday, just 2 100s off a lifetime best. There is Shamir Little, 4th in those US championships, but a world championship silver medalist back in 2015. She's very quick and she'll have a real race against this lady. Femke Bol, the European #1, the winner in Oslo, and a European under-23 record and a Dutch record as well. She's in 5. Janice Russell goes in 4, the Commonwealth champion for Jamaica. There's Anna Ryshkova of Ukraine, 2nd in Oslo on Thursday, in a personal best, the European Championship silver medalist behind Sprunger in Berlin 3 years ago. Karolina Kravzik of Germany, their champion back in early June, won that German title, by the way, by over 3 seconds. She goes in 2. And Leah Nugent of Jamaica, 6th in the Rio Olympic Games, 3rd in the Jamaican Championships. She will be going to Tokyo. Only 5th in Oslo, though, last Thursday. 3 days ago, and 55.37. So that world record of Sydney McLaughlin, remember, the first ever time under 52 seconds, 51.90. I don't think we'll see any world records here tonight, but we should see a fabulous race because this is a strong field. 4 of the top 7 in the world go here. Nugent in 1, Kravzik in 2, Ryshkova 3, Russell in 4, the Commonwealth champion. Bol, the top European this year, goes in 5. Shamir Little, 4th American, it goes in 6. Kachuk in 7, Sprunger, the European champion, in lane 8. Beautiful conditions. 27 degrees.
Set.
Well, there is a slight breeze on the stadium floor. There have been some big readings in the long jump over the last half hour or so, but they go through that first barrier okay. Bol there in the centre in the red shorts, just gaining ground on Shamir Little. Shamir Little's flat speed's improved this year. She's gone under 50 seconds on the flat. There's Shamir Little with that sort of short pink hair. Bol up on her shoulder now at 200. And the European, the Dutch athlete has really taken it to the rest of this field. She's attacked Little here very early on. She's gone out hard. Also going well with Ryshkova in the long white socks in lane 3, having a very good run. Looks a little awkward on that barrier though around the crown of the bend, but maybe leading at the moment as the stagger unwinds in her favour. She's really gone for it too. Down the home straight, Bol first there, but Ryshkova in lane 3 is giving her a run for her money, and Little is coming back now, using that flat speed. Bol's going to hang on, or is she? Ryshkova going back. It's so tight at the line. Oh my word, I think Bol still hung on, and look at the time, 52.38, a new meeting record. That replaces the one from Zuzana Susanna Hejnova of the Czech Republic. That was back in 2013. A personal best for Bol, of course, a new European under-23 record, her second in, 4 days. Fabulous run, and Bol does get the nod. It was incredibly tight to the line. Little was coming all the time, getting closer and closer, just run out of track. And the winning time, Steve, 52.37. It is a national record, of course, for the Dutch, a meeting record, a personal best. It's a Diamond League record, no less. And Shamir Little had to battle through to lose by an inch, maybe less, set a new personal best.
Wow, what a way to start. 400-meter hurdling, it's just taking over world athletics, isn't it? Men and women here. And if you'd said to Shamir Little, in the space of 2-3 weeks, you're going to not make the American team running very quick. You're going to run a big personal best in the Stockholm Diamond League and lose, and not even lose to McLaughlin or Mohammed. You're going to lose to Femke Bol, running 52.37. Shamir Little, 52.39. Lifetime best for her, as indeed Ryshkova. Let's not rule her out. Under 53 seconds, the top 3 women, and normally you'd only see that in a world or an Olympic final. It's absolutely phenomenal, right up there on the world all-time list, all 3 of them. But Bol, I said right at the start of the show, Tim, this was her first test, wasn't it, against one of the women who have run quicker than her. She's been winning over the last 2 years in Europe, getting faster and getting better. But what I loved about this, Tim, was the last 2 flights where Little came up on her shoulder and she stayed really strong. She went out hard, as you said, into the wind down the back straight, but just look at those results.
Took it to them, didn't she? That makes her the 2nd fastest athlete in the world. A national record for Ryshkova there. She really attacked the first 300 as well. Just a brilliant race. Well, we can go now to the women's shot put, where we have a final 3 situation just about to unfold. This is how Maggie Ewan qualified for the 3rd place in the first round. 19.04 for Maggie Ewan. She was only 4th in the US Championships. She's a 1932 putter this year. Oriol Dongmo, the top European this last few months, in round 4, going out to 19.05, the Portuguese. Late developer, she's 30 now, but the best from the first 5 rounds, Valerie Adams of New Zealand, in her main comeback season in round 3, going up to 19 meters 26, the Olympic champion in Beijing 2008 and in London 2012. And these are the 3 yet to take their 6th and final round throw, but it is a top 3 final round situation. And of course, those 5 rounds that we've seen over the last hour, including those best throws from each of these 3, are now irrelevant. It's effectively almost a sudden death. It's 3, 2, 1. That is the order they'll throw in. 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place after 5 rounds. And everything prior to these 3 throws is discounted. So Maggie Ewan could cause an upset here. Very close to her lifetime best already this year, the American. Well, that looks around 18.5. She threw 19.04 with her opening effort quite a while ago now. 4 from the world top 10 were going in this event, and Ewan is ranked 10th in the world, so 18.25 for Ewan. That's the target then for Dongmo, if she wants to secure at least 2nd place, which is where she was positioned after 5 rounds. But this final 3 situation is new to the game in these field events. And Dongmo, who has had a fabulous winter, won the European indoor title, looking here to push out beyond 19 meters. But she doesn't. If those lines across the sector are correctly positioned, and they usually are pretty accurate, that's around 18.20. Remember, 18.50 rather. Remember Ewan, 18.25. That, yeah, looks pretty close to 18.5. What does she get? 18.37 for Dongmo. So she has secured at least second place. Throwing marginally faster, further than Ewan. But here is Valerie Adams, refreshed, back at the age of 36. She's a mother now, had a little girl back in October 2017. And they say a rest can do such wonders. That looks big. Ooh, it may be further. It looks a little better to me. Not out beyond 19 meters. Ironically, all three of them going out beyond 19 with their first 5 efforts, or at least one of their first 5 efforts. None of them reaching it in this round, but that surely is further than 18:37, Dongmo's best just now. It may well be that there's no change in the series. 18:65, there is no change. And Valerie Adams returns to the European circuit in the Diamond League format with a win. 18:65 for Valerie Adams from Dongmo's 18:37 and Maggie Ewan's 18:25. 1, 2, 3 in that women's shot put contest. Strong field it was too. Chase Ely was in there for the USA. Kristina Schwanitz, world champion back in 2015. World Championship silver medalist in Doha 2 years ago. Daniel Thomas-Dodd of Jamaica was in there as well, but couldn't make the top 3.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, well, a very busy afternoon of field events, and the long jump men a little earlier on. Tobias Montler, well, he last year when the final 3 was first trialed, he had been leading and going at the final round, and he'd lost in the end. This time he started very well, 8:20 in round 1, and 8:23, a new personal best for him in round 2. Now the world champion Tajay Gale notoriously sometimes takes a little while to get going to. No jumps in the first 2 rounds, then in the 3rd round finally getting himself out. Sorry, a little bit later on, did 8:20, then 8:27, the season's best. But from the first 5 rounds, the furthest jump came from this man, Echevarria, who we would have expected to be the pre-event favourite, although Gale has the opportunity, always has the opportunity of the big jumps, doesn't he? So there you go, wasn't much between them. 8:29, 8:27, 8:23, very good long jumping. And the wind was following them, and occasionally was gusting, as Tim was mentioning earlier on, above the legal limit of +2. Now, Montler, as I said last year, did lead until he came into the final 3 and lost out to Samai. Can he turn the tables this time? He's in 3rd place. He goes first. Montler, final jump of the competition. Oh, he's gone for it, but that might get a red. Yes, he gets a red flag. That's a shame for the Swede. I'm sure, though, he'll be very happy with an 8:23. Personal best by just 1 centimetre for him in round 2. So the world champion has warmed to this competition. Sometimes doesn't get his run up quite right. He's such, you watch this, when he gets his speed going, the height he gets off the board as well. Tajay Gale of Jamaica, here he goes. Oh, that's a, well, you'd expect a long jump in the long jump. The flag goes up now. That flag is breezing. We've seen the last 2-3 jumps be over, and you've just seen there, you just saw a little glimpse of a flag waving in the wind, means it's over, +2.3, but 8:55 for Tajay Gale. That is huge, only just over the legal limit of +2.3. It's over to you, Echevarria. Final jump. Just a little stut on his run up there, perhaps. He's had real problems with the run up. Was way behind the board again, way behind the board. Well, Echevarria, 8:19. He must have been 20-30 centimeters behind the board there, but not good enough. 8:55. Tajay Gale, the world champion, coming out on top. Huge performance from him, although it was, as I said, windy in the sense of +2.3.
Well, Renaud Lavillenie, first attempt at 5:72 for the former world record holder. Oh yes, that's nice. I thought it looked a little bit laboured, but he got there, and actually with daylight to spare. Now that was a real pressure jump, because he's had 2 failures at 5:62. Had seen 5 men pop over that height, so passed his further attempts, and had 1 attempt left. This was his last life, and it's good. When the pressure's applied, big names, big champions, those who can absorb the pressure and feed off it, produce the goods. And La Villani goes clear, first time, just as well.
Well, that was his poker face, wasn't it? Goodness me. Well done. Good choice. So back on the track, it's the men's flat 400 meters, and that was the stunning performance from Carsten Wahlholm over hurdles last week of 46.7. There's plenty of men on the flat running at international level, if you like. Certainly some of the junior or under 23s would have been pleased with that, but here we see some of the fastest men in the world over the flat. Dion Lendore of Trinidad and Tobago on the outside, Wilbert London in lane 7. The American trials, of course, just a little bit of a surprise in the sense that Michael Cherry chased Michael Norman home and Randolph Ross was in there. Isaac McQuarrie doesn't have to worry about that. But he was talking this week about his Tokyo preparations, the veteran Botswanan athlete, saying that I know that some of people think I should concentrate on the Olympics. I get a few injuries, I know that, but that's a risk I have to take because I have to earn a living. He's quite strong in his condemnation of those who saying he should race less. But he's in good form, McQuarrie. And Karani James, well, we're not quite sure, because Karani started the season very well indeed, but hasn't raced since Doha. So it'll be interesting to see. That's well over a month. And then Vernon Norwood didn't make the American team, ran the 200 in Oslo the other night. Now, the Dutch have put together a pretty good squad, haven't they, as far as 4x4 concerned as well, but it's led by this man, Lee Marvin Bonavacchia, and won their championships in 44.99. Ogando improving the Dominican Republic, talking about the 4x4. They picked up a medal at the World Relays, rather surprisingly, and Emil Johansson of Sweden, the 19-year-old, on the inside. So the race here, two very familiar names, Karani James, Isaac McQuarrie. McQuarrie certainly has been rounding into some very good form this year. Karani James started with a bang, 44.74 and 44.6. His two races that we've seen him in Europe. Well, Doha, I guess, as part of the Diamond League. But then, nothing for the last 5 weeks from Karani James. So McQuarrie's in 6, James in 5, the two Americans, Norwood in 4, London in 7. But watch out as well, Ogando and Bonavacchia in lanes 2 and 3. Men's 400 meters. Away first time, Karani James gets out pretty well already, a little bit up on Isaac McQuarrie. And that's perhaps a little bit of a surprise. McQuarrie started slowly there, London moving well out in lane 7, as is Lendore out in lane 8. But it's Karani James who's set his stall out through this first 200 meters and has taken a fair bit of distance out of Norwood and indeed McQuarrie. McQuarrie, though, really got to try and get himself moving here. So Karani James now knows that McQuarrie's starting to fight back, and we've got a real scrap on here into the home straight. Lendore going well out in lane 8 as well, closest to the crowd. He's maybe just got a half a meter on the others as Karani James starts to tire, and right over on the far side it's Bonavacchia trying to get through, but he's got to hang on just Karani James. 44.63. Well, all 5 men there must be under 45 seconds, and James looked as though he was going to falter in the last 50 when the challenges were coming all around him, and then managed just to strengthen it out. And that's interesting for me, Tim, because he's been missing for 4 or 5 weeks. We know he had all the problems with Graves' disease for a couple of years. He said he's got that under control now. Good to see him come back and win, and winning well.
Well, what a brilliant run from Karani James. I thought he'd misjudged it, I must admit. I thought he'd gone out far too hard that first 200, but that was the feature of his running when he won the Olympic title back in 2012 and the world title in 2011. He used to go out very hard and hang on so well. There's that finish, by the way, of the women's 400-meter hurdles. Bol winning by the tiniest of margins from Shamir Little. Karani James, 44.63. Blanket finish there from the first 5. Wonderful, wonderful contest. They were all coming back at him, but he hung on, didn't tire.
So the women's high jump, Garashenko Second attempt at 196, and still a fair few women in this. It's been a good quality so far, with Nicola McDermott of Australia here recently over 2 meters, and of course Mahuchik. And there you see Garashenko, the other Ukrainian in the field, going clear there, equaling her season's best. Second time clearance at 196. I mentioned McDermott and Mahuchik, probably the two standouts, although there have been some big performances in the last 2-3 weeks in the women's high jump. Salome Lang of Switzerland, a new Swiss record, 197. She's gone out already, though, this afternoon at 193. So that leaves Garashenko clear. Moves into second. Right, well, I said, apart from Mahuchik and McDermott, Eleanor Patterson, the other Australian, 2 Ukrainians, 2 Australians. And with McDermott having set that new Australian record back in April, wasn't it, at the Australian Championship. Seems so long ago for the Australians, having to qualify for the Olympics that long ago. Now allowed onto the circuit and enjoying the competition. Patterson going well.
Mahuchik then, first attempt at 199. Hasn't had a failure yet. This is just her 4th jump. Lots of speed. Oh, that's lovely. Whips those legs over. Enjoying herself, isn't she? And Mahuchik, silver medalist in those World Championships back in 29. She's still only 19 years old. Won the Ukrainian title a couple of weeks ago. It was with the 2 meters in Lutsk. So she's peaking at just the right time. So many of these athletes are. It's the real mark of a quality athlete with great coaching.
Here is McDermott, already seen Patterson going well. McDermott, 2 meters recently. Oh, and then she gets it. 199. It looked as though there was going to be a bit of a struggle. It wasn't a very good first attempt, but the second attempt rattles the bar. And McDermott, clear. Well, she's improving just at the right time in Olympic year. It took her so long, well, it's not her so long, but that Australian record stood for a long time. First to break clear 2 meters from her country. 199 today, though. So far, of course, bar can go higher.
Well, you can see the athletes getting ready for the next event, the 800 meters for women. Meeting record belongs to one Maria Mutola back in 1998. Mozambican running 156.71. Well, you can see Hede Hinne of Norway, who shares that outside lane with Lemige of Poland. National records both indoors and outdoors for Hede Hinne. 6 times Norwegian champion. Hasn't broken 2 minutes this year, but she's a 158 performer at her best. There's Lemige. She's the pacemaker, going out in 57.5. The pace is 157 they want to produce. Keely Hodgkinson, well, what a talent she is. The UK champion last weekend, European indoor champion. She's still only 19 years old at Britain in 7. There's Catriona Bissett. Set a national record on the 20th of June. She was 4th in Oslo, ran a really gutsy race on Thursday. She's in 6. Almanza of Cuba, the world #2 this year, has won 156.4. Unbeaten this year, Almanza. In really fine form, the Cuban. Natoya Gould, 6th in the World Championships a couple of years back, won the Jamaican title last Sunday in a season's best. Kate Grace, well, what a massive improvement she made in Oslo. A personal best by over half a second to win in the Norwegian capital 3 days ago. And there is Lind, Lovisa Lind, 5th in Oslo in a season's best of 159.8. European Championship bronze medalist in Amsterdam 2016. And Worknesh Mesele, a 20-year-old Ethiopian, goes on the inside, a best of 158.7. That was in Hengelo at the beginning of June, almost exactly a month ago. This is a quality field, and I wonder how the likes of Kate Grace will have come off her race just a couple of days ago in Oslo. That was a big surprise. She didn't make the US team. Kate Grace was only 7th in their championships. So Grace goes in lane 3 for the USA. Watch Almanza in lane 5. Probably about the smallest in the field, but the world #2 with 156.4. She, as I said, unbeaten this year with that bun. There's Almanza in the black, right in the middle of the field, coming across. In fact, Almanza there on that white top. Lemige, the pacemaker, needs to get this right. Hinne right at the back of the field at the moment, the Norwegian, because this looks pretty quick. and they're moving well. And the conditions, apart from the swirling wind in places, very good indeed for middle distance racing. We've had a quick women's 1500 already in the non-Diamond League program. And Steve, yeah, it looks pretty fast, and they're up for it. Almanza's going with it.
Yeah, it's a high-quality field here. Lots to look forward to in terms of Almanza going for the time here. Others sitting off. Young Keely Hodgkinson against some real big talent here. Grace already moving through, but this is quick, Tim, through the first 400. I think one or two who are at the front might pay for it a little bit. Can others who sat off it a little bit finish better over the last 200 metres? But Almanza is going to be left out 2-3 metres ahead of Gould when this pacemaker drops out.
Well, Kate Grace moving up into 4th place. Of course, the pacemaker's out now. She's in 3rd. The American Almanza went out very hard, 56.8 the pacemaker. She'd have been about 57 at 400 metres. Natoya Gould running a brilliant race here. Up into 2nd place on the shoulder. And Keely Hodgkinson moving up down the outside with 200 metres to run. Has got some finishing to do here. She finished like an absolute train in Manchester a week ago, but she's got a lot of work to do here. She's 8 metres down on the leading duo. Kate Grace isolated in 3rd. Almanza into the straight here, running the shortest line. Gould has had to run the wide line round the bend, and she's going with Almanza, but is she going to get there? Grace trying to come through in 3rd place to get, not making any inroads. Keely Hodgkinson back in 3rd is well beaten on this occasion, but what a run from Almanza. Watch the clock, 1:56.28. It's a new meeting record. Wow. It's only a click or two off the fastest time in the world this year. It's the 2nd fastest time in the world this year. She is world number 2 already, Almanza. And Steve, that was a somewhat intimidating run because she took it from the front once the pacemaker had done her job, and she did do it well, the Mies of Poland. Let's give her credit. But to hang on like that, under real pressure from Gould, and surely Gould here has run something very close to her personal best. She'll have run a season's best. There's no doubt about that. Another fabulous race in Stockholm's Olympic Stadium.
Do you know what? You get the feeling the Olympics are coming up, Tim, because goodness me, we're already seeing so many big performances from those who are heading there and obviously hoping to do well, and Almanza will be one of those. But what a run by the two of them, Gould as well, and even Kate Grace and young Keely Hodgkinson not that far off, all running incredibly fast times. And I just love the way Almanza really attacked it. You know, when you're coming with already a new personal best sitting behind you, you come into these races, come on, let's just go and see what I can do here. That's what she did. Went out hard, committed, and then had enough to fight her way to the line in the end with Gould, Grace, Hodgkinson. Personal best for Grace and Hodgkinson behind. But Almanza, that's a big win, a big confidence booster for her. She's a proper contender.
Well, isn't she just a meeting record for Almanza? And that knocks off a 23-year-old record, as I said, from Maria Mutola.
McDermott attempting a new Australian record. Oh, she gets it! She's done it! 2 meters back in April in front of a home crowd, and this time as her teammate congratulates her, that was Patterson applauding, McDermott goes clear. She's been with the same coach since she was 11 years old and just keeps improving. And for her, all of a sudden, she must now be starting to think, could I possibly contend for a medal? Because once you start clearing 2 meters on a consistent basis, and the answer to that is absolutely yes. The former basketball player, well, she certainly tried basketball. She said, I've been told. And look at the pen in her hand. She marks herself out of 10 in a little book, out of all the various compartments. Here she goes. If she doesn't give herself a 10 out of 10 there, then she's not being fair to herself. What do you do when you've just done another Australian record? And there she goes, making her notes. Never seen anyone do that in a competition before.
Well, it's a little weird, but it works for her. Whatever floats your boat. Mahuchik then. Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful. Second attempt at 2:01 for Mahuchik there. Matches McDermott at that height, but holds the lead on countback. Her first failure came at this height. Gives that one a little clatter, but it stays up. She cleared 189, 193, 196, and 199 first time, did Mahuchik. Yeah, very strong mentally. Her sporting hero, she says, is Maria Lasitskani, the world #1, who is, frankly, the only athlete better than her around at the moment in this discipline. Loves to paint in her spare time, just to keep herself calm, build up the energy for events like this.
Just while we see Obiena, just that women's 800 still lapping that up. Hodgkinson, the third best ever by a British athlete, another youngster doing well. And Obiena, he's had a good season in the pole vault. Still, oh, it stays on. Well, who did that the other night? Was it La Villani, Tim, where it bounced and it almost flipped and
it was
still
Oslo,
stayed
yeah.
on? And it just, it bounced again. Love to get a close-up of that. Just watch as he comes in. It's a far side, watch the bar. Flips up, back down onto the stanchion, onto the support. Just catches it going over with his, almost his side, if you like. That's why it bounced more on that far side. Not really seeing it on that view.
But Steve, he's clear. Sorry, he's enjoying wonderful form, Obiena.
He's had a great year.
Called his personal best in Bydgoszcz on Tuesday, and he was on fire there. Fantastic competition.
Pausing for breath, but there's Daniel Stahl, who will be singing the discus. He's one of Sweden's big stars. Remember when Sweden had so many great people like the high jumpers, Stefan Holm, of course, and Sjöberg over the years, and their field events have always been something they've looked forward to. And that man there, though, Che and Weiss Heidinger. We had this almost the same field in Oslo the other night, and they put on a great show. Let's hope they can do so here. A little bit more windy. I think it'll help the discus a little more in the stadium in Stockholm. It's a bit of a crosswind. That might just help the discus fly a little bit further. We could see, let's hope we get close to 70 meters. Meanwhile, pole vault with La Villani.
It is indeed, yes. La Villani. Remember, we saw him clear 5.72. That was a now or nothing attempt because he's had 2 failures at the previous height, 5.62. This is 5.82. Obiena has gotten clear, the only man clear so far. A couple of athletes have failed. Nielsen of the USA and Lisek of Poland. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, and he knows it. Technically supreme. Yeah, and at the age of 34, he's really enjoying his vaulting. He's got a vaulting pit, runway and pit in his back garden as Renaud La Villani. And he is still capable of causing a bit of an upset. Come the Olympic Games in Tokyo, you cannot write this man off.
Tim, I was watching actually just before we came on air with the main program, and his second attempt earlier on when he said he was almost going to go out was awful at 5.62, and I thought that we're not going to see him anymore. He passes, as you said, clears 5.7 and makes 5.82 look straightforward.
I know, ridiculous, isn't it?
Well done to him. When we're going to move across to the 100 meters, we'll catch up with everything going on in that pole vault. All eyes on Kendricks, Duplantis, La Villani. Great to see the 3 of them there. The other Americans, Nielsen, still involved. But thoughts turn to the fast men. And is the 100 meters at the Olympic Games an open event or not? You look at Bromell, he's not here tonight, but we've got 2 other men, or 2 or 3 other men who think they've got chances here. Zaya Young goes in lane 2. Now, I think this man here, Lamont Marcel Jacobs, the Italian, was American-born, but he says, I am Italian. He is. He doesn't speak actually that good English, but he's somebody who is the new Italian record holder. Then you got Ronnie Baker, coached by Darrell Anderson, a quiet man sometimes of the 100 meters, so quick indoors, of course, fast starter. Bracey also gets out of the blocks really well. Baker will be representing the USA in the 100 meters with Bromell. And so indeed will CJ Ujah. Won the British Championships. He's now got himself back into a coaching regime he enjoys, and he's best of the British athletes and running very well indeed, and close to that 10-second mark again. Larson of Sweden is in lane 7, 21-year-old. And then Aaron Brown of Canada on the outside. 200 meters, certainly his best event. Won their Canadian Championships at that distance, 20.20.24. So right in the middle then, Baker, Bracey, Ujah, and watch out for Jacobs as well in lane 3. He won the Italian Championships in 10.01 into a headwind. Incidentally, here's a stat for you. Jacobs was the 150th person to run sub 10 seconds. Did you know that, Tim?
Obviously.
You do now. You do now. Men's 100 meters. Bracey Baker, with Ujar and Jacobs either side. Jacobs last to settle. Get out well. Baker just left a little bit by Bracey. CJ Ujar going very well indeed, and Jacobs is right there with him. It's could be Jacobs who might just get ahead, but Baker's just gets his nose in. 10.02. Well, it was those middle lanes. Not sure that Baker got the best start he usually does, but he got the victory in the end, pushed all the way by Jacobs. Very close in the end between those two, but I'm pretty sure the American got it by 1 or 2 hundredths. Indeed, it's just been confirmed, 10.03 to 10.05. And given the fireworks we've been seeing elsewhere, Tim, you might be forgiven for thinking the men might have produced something under, well, we hope they might have gone under 10 seconds, but just a slight breeze into their face, minus 0.8. Here's Duplantis.
Yes, Duplantis then. Can he do what he's already seen two others do in this men's pole vault competition? Obiena and Le Villani clear at 5.82, and it's no trouble at all. He just pops over it like he's being held aloft by balloons. It is astonishing. He seems almost weightless, doesn't he? When he gets up there, there's a lovely fluidity. It's almost like Barshim's high jumping. He just... It's a really weird sight. It's almost like an optical illusion. And he's over that, Steve, by 30 centimetres. I mean, it's got to be 30 centimetres. That was 5.82.
Do you know what? That almost looked like he ran down the runway and there was a trampoline just where he took off. Unbelievable, that.
Same standards?
Just keep tuned here, folks. Just keep tuned. Duplantis, home crowd, quite good conditions. We'll see. Okay, 10.03, the winning time for the men's 100 metres, and Jacobs 10.05. Some good performances all over the place, but as I said, the men in the 100 metres would have loved, I'm sure, to have gone sub 10. CJ Ujar continuing his solid season, 10.10 in third place.
Yeah. CJ started well, didn't Ujar, there third to left, but couldn't go with the men in lanes 3 and 4, and it was, as you said rightly, Steve, an impressive run into a slight headwinds, minus 0.8. I think the wind is gradually dropping. Baker's 10.03, giving him a couple of hundreds over Jacobs. Now,
well, we've seen McDermott with another Australian record, 2 meters 1. This would be even an area record, going higher for her, 2.03. So 2 attempts already, Nicola McDermott. Well, a failure there, but what a triumph for the Australian. Superb performance for her. And of course, Mahuchik will try to go higher, but the Australian, 2 Australians, second and third. McDermott with that new personal best, new Australian record, beating her own record she set 3-4 months ago, and Eleanor Patterson will be third with her season's best of 196. Mahuchik then set to go higher, hopefully.
Well, Mahuchik has her third attempt at this height yet. She's had 2 failures. That's a great card for McDermott. An Australasian record, an AR area record.
Is the notes. I attempted to go even higher. I hope she marks herself up, though. It was a great day for her.
Mahuchik then. Now, a lifetime best is 2.04. That was 2 years ago. This 2.03, if she goes clear, will make her the highest jumper in the world this year. Oh, yes! Lots of speed again. Takes off a long way from the bar. You can allow yourself that luxury when you accelerate so much over 4 or 5 strides. But the real skill in the high jump is to convert that horizontal force, that momentum, into vertical lift. And she does that so well. Beautiful technician. Third time clear at 2.03. That is a new world best for this Olympic season. It was Vashti Cunningham from back in late May at 2.02. Now Mahuchik moves from 4th on the world rankings for this season to 1st. No wonder she gives herself a little clap. And always nice to win by a clear height too, which she does.
Piotr Lisek, we haven't seen too much of him just in recent weeks, as Duplantis and Kendricks have been flying the flag, but he is a part of that great trio. Silver and bronze medalists at the last 3 World Championships. And he goes clear. Yes, he says. Well, he cleared 5.82 in Bydgoszcz the other night, which was a season's best, and now equals that. So maybe just beginning to round into the sort of form he would need to contend, but so many men following Duplantis and Kendricks through to the bigger heights. I think, Tim, the American Championship was the first time 3 Americans went over 5.85 in the same competition. And it just shows you the standards and the depth in this event worldwide. The Poles, of course, have had great depth. He gives that a little nudge, but it stays on. So Lisek clear at 5.82.
Well, he's enjoying himself. They're all enjoying themselves, aren't they?
Yes, Mahuchik herself, 2.7. Just really raced at that one a little bit, didn't she? And, well, getting excited, and why shouldn't she? As Tim was saying earlier, world lead, and all the way up to 2.7 for her. She knows that personal best, these sort of heights are they're not well within her grasp, but she's beginning to get to the point in her career now where she can regularly go after these heights.
Well, Steve, I know you're looking forward to the women's 3,000-meter steeplechase. The world record holder goes in this one. She was actually beaten in the Kenyan Championships, which sort of underlines the caliber they've got back in Kenya. There's Krauser, the European champion, who is one of the very few non-Rift Valley athletes who can get amongst them in that women's steeplechase. That's something to look forward to. The next event on the track, the men's 800, by the way.
Yeah, steeplechase will follow that one. Christopher Nielsen, I was talking about the men over 5.85 and the US champs. Well, he was the one who got ahead of Kendricks. Casey Lightfoot also made it in here, but just throws that one away. And enough for him tonight. Not able to go higher, Nielsen, which will be a disappointment, because every time you come on the circuit, it's okay, you know, the American trials were a real pressure competition, but you've got to come on the circuit, a little bang of the pole there, frustration for him, because he needs to show himself that when Duplantis and Lavillenie, Obiena tonight, Kendricks are all vaulting well, he's got to be in the mix with them if he wants to even have any chance for medal at the Olympics. One more attempt for Mahuchik in the high jump at 2.7 meters.
Yeah, Mahuchik here going for something that would be, well, so far, frankly, the performance of the meeting. That meeting record is 2.07 by Blanka Vlasic back in 2007, who incidentally was watching Croatia and a bit of a cheerleader in the stadium a few days ago when Croatia was still in the Euros, the European Football Championships going on at the moment. If you're not in Europe and you're not aware of that, she's a bit of a legend in Croatia, obviously as a multiple medalist in their colours.
Yeah, if you're wondering why 2.7, I think you nail on the head, Tim, but it would equal the meeting record, because her best is 2.4, and she could have put the bar up to, say, 2.5 or even 2.6, but she chose 2.7. Because I was looking at world lists and everything, kind of, why 2.7? Is it a national record? And the national record is 2.5, so she could have put it up to 2.6 to get the national record, but has chosen 2.7, which I suspect was to try and get this meeting record.
Strange though, isn't it? Because he wouldn't normally want to equal a meeting record, but this would still be a big big improvement on her PB.
Oh, that was close.
It was close. That's the third and final attempt, but what a competition she's had. A third time clearance at 2.03. That was a pressure jump. She's had quite a few jumps now too. That was her 12th jump. And they do start running out of gas, these jumpers, after a while.
See, now if that bar had been 2.6, would she have got over it?
Give up. You know?
No, I mean, it just on second look there, maybe she did hit it a little harder than we'd initially thought. Looked like she just grazed it the first time. Nonetheless, she's in superb form and will get these heights. As you mentioned, Tim, only 19 years of age, and that's something which, at that point of your career, you're jumping this high, you are only going to get stronger and fitter, and working on that technique, she will improve.
And we talk, sorry Steve, we talk about that being equaling the meeting record. It would also make her the third equal highest jumper in history. I mean, you know, you're in a rare fact. The world record, remember, Kostadinova's 2:09 from 87, those World Championships in Rome. And then Blanka Vlasic, funnily enough, is the second highest jumper with 2:07. Second highest jumper in history. She's going to get there. 19, she's going to carry on improving, surely, for several years yet.
Great high jump, Mahuchik with a world lead, and her Australian record, another one for McDermott in second place.
So Piotr Lishak then, first attempt at 5.92. Now he is a 6-meter vaulter. He's been there before. He knows this is within his range. Obiena, by the way, has already attempted this height and failed his first effort, having cleared 5.82 first time, the Filipino. Now Lisa, first time, 5.92. It's good attempt. Good attempt. He cleared 5.72 third time, 5.82 second time. Would have been nice to maintain that sequence and pop over there, but he's got a couple of attempts left. Next to go will be Renaud Lavillenie. It's a great contest with 5 men still in there at 5.92. The 800 for men now, and I know, Steve, you'll be watching this with interest. Did you ever run Stockholm?
I did. I'm not at 800, or I ran one or two 1500s. My best Stockholm performance was over 1,000.
There you go. You were pretty useful at 1,000, probably your best distance. Adrian Ben of Spain, the Spanish champion just last weekend. Good athlete, the 22-year-old, 6th in the last World Championships. Patryk Ziaradzki of Poland, 3rd in their championships last week. He's the pacemaker. He's due to go out in 50.5. Ferguson Rotich, bronze medalist in Doha at the World Championships, 2nd in the Kenyan champs a couple of weeks ago. And a 5th placer in Rio. He's a big-time performer, the Kenyan. He's in 7th. That's Andreas Kramer, the European Championship silver medalist in Berlin 2018. Hasn't been able to really maintain that sort of level of performance, Kramer. Jamie Webb, well, really frustrated 5th in the UK Championships last week, but he took it on the nose. Was 2nd in Bydgoszcz Tuesday. Looked a little tired there, that's understandable. Amal Duka of Bosnia-Herzegovina, the World Championship silver medalist, always rounds into shape at the right time. Does Duka, the 30-year-old. There's Elliot Giles, the British champion, European Championship, a bronze medalist in 2016. Set his personal best in Chortów, Poland, just a couple of weeks ago. Marco Arop, formerly of Sudan, competes for Canada now. Only his 3rd 800 of this season. He hasn't raced since the 5th of June. And Isaiah Harris, who's in good form, 4th at the US Championships, has run 144.5 this summer. Very close to his lifetime best from 3 years back. So a strong 800 field here. Really hard to pick out a favourite, although Rotich maybe with his pedigree out in lane 7 for Kenya. Long hold there, but so many of these men rounding into form as this season unfolds in the Olympic Games, as Steve said earlier on. 25 days away now, the Tokyo Games. Some of these men just racing for pride, really, and to show what they can do. The likes of Jamie Webb not going to the Games. He's in the all-black 3rd to left there towards the back of the field as Ziaradzki takes them up through 200 metres. On the inside is Isaiah Harris there with that hunched-shouldered style of his. And the all-black in 2nd place, I think, is the Canadian. And that's Marco Arop. Yes, Arop from Harris at 300 metres. Doesn't look particularly quick, Steve. Elliot Giles in 4th place, well positioned.
Yeah, it doesn't look super fast. Giles in a good position. Took a little further at the back. He sometimes is very good of a slightly slower pace. He's got such good 400-meter pace. But yeah, you could pick any one of these men here. I think someone's got to grab hold of this. Someone like Elliot Giles will think, I need to win this sort of race if I'm going to do well at the Olympic Games, if I'm going to get through the rounds into the final.
Elliot Giles then in second place behind Arop, who has that 3 or 4 metre gap and is pushing hard here with 200 metres to run. This is an impressive run for the Canadian. Pan Am Games champion back in 2019. He knows how to get it right at major championships. Moving into second place now is Rotic. Giles in third. Has got that 3:33, 1500 strength, Giles, but he's going to need it here if he's to catch the leader in the last 100. So they come into the straight. It's still Arop. The gap is closing now. Rotic coming back at him. Ferguson Rotic coming back at him. Giles kicking down the outside. Is he going to get there? As Arop just begins to lose those legs. Perfectly judged there from Rotic, and he takes it from Arop. And Giles, I think, in third place. 1:40. Clock stopped there a little early. 1:43.8. Wow. Unofficially, very, very quick indeed. I thought the pacemaker didn't go quite quick enough. All the pack would have been well outside 51 at 400. But the key to it, Steve, was Arop's aggression in that third 200 metres segment. Down the back straight, he really kicked in hard, made them all work and chased so hard from about 250 out. 1:43.84.
Yeah, the clock stopped at 1:35, world record. Yeah, right. But we were watching on the computer, and that gave us this 1:43.84 clocking. And Arop deserves his personal best, 1:44. But goodness me, looked like he was going to run 1:42 at one point. They're all wading through treacle down the home straight, to be honest. And the man who managed to get his knees out of the treacle better than anyone else was Rotic. Look how hard they're having to just keep their legs moving here. And Arop does really well to hang on. Giles and Ben finishing really well. Personal best for both men. I think we'll get that confirmed very, very shortly. But Rotic, Arop, Giles, Ben. I was saying, Tim, that, when you get the semi-final stage, maybe not these this is the sort of race you're going to have at the Olympic Games. And look at the margins here. Look how close it is. Look how fast you're going to have to run, perhaps just to get to the final.
Rotic, 1:43.84, a season's best, and then personal best for Arop, Giles and Ben. A really fast race in Stockholm, where the splits were relatively even through the two halves.
Sam Kendricks passed at his second attempt after failing one. And he's same as Le Villani, takes the gamble. And his season is coming together nicely. That is the highest that Sam Kendricks has managed to get over in 2021. And it almost goes on a lap of honour as though he'd won the Olympics. Away he goes. He knows that all he's done is set himself up for yet another contest with Duplantis, I'm sure. But again, good strategy, trusting yourself, backing yourself to go higher when you've had a failure at 5:82. Knew that if he wants to do well in this competition, Obiena had cleared that height, Le Villani had cleared that height, which we saw earlier. But the American, with his season's best 5:92, is in the lead at the moment. Not for long, you don't think?
Well, no, exactly right. Mondo Duplantis has had just 3 vaults, came in at 5:62, popped over that, 5:72 he passed, then 5:82, 5:92. Now, oh yes, and of course, while he was brought up in the USA, he opted to compete for Sweden, his mother's home nation, and he's in front of the home crowd here, and they are loving it. And as Steve alluded to earlier, we could be in for something rather special here today. His season's best is 6:10, a height that only he and Sergei Bubka have ever been over. And Steve again, 5:92 there. He does it with consummate ease. It's like the flying trapeze, isn't it? It's, as you say, it's like something else has projected him that the others haven't got at their resource.
No, stunning. As I said, I have a feeling tonight or this afternoon he'll certainly already be thinking about a world record attempt. Look forward to that. 6'9" in old money, Christian Che, and is a phenomenal discus thrower. He's already been over 70 meters this year, and that sets us underway in the men's discus, where he'll have, we hope, a great tussle with Daniel Stahl. Came second to Stahl the other night. Of course, this will also be subject to the final 3, so 5 throws, and then whoever the 3 men are after those 5 throws, then they will go into a final 3 competition where the distances from the first 5 rounds are scratched and they throw again. 66-62, the early lead, and now Stahl.
Yes, here he is, another of the Swedish darlings of track and field athletics. And that's big too, that surely takes the lead. It's just beyond that superimposed yellow line across the sector, showing the best throws so far. 66-62 by Christian Che. And Stahl there showing that he can go a little bit better. Whatever you can do. What does he get? 67-33. Nice solid opener, some big throws in the first round from the big fellas.
So back to this enthralling pole vault. And you still feel as though we haven't really got warmed up yet. Renaud Lavillenie, second attempt, 5.92. Oh, and he's done it! A huge cheer. Look how much it means to him. He's won the Olympics before. He's the multiple world indoor champion, of course, famously never won the world outdoor title. Unbelievable, that is. And the man who's obviously watched Duplantis go higher and further, but he's still in there. They're still learning from him. I heard Duplantis saying that. I still watch and see what I can pick up. And if you have anything to pick up here, it is this man's determination to still go as high as he can as he enters what surely is the twilight of his career, but nonetheless, equals his season's best, 5.92. Lavillenie, after looking at the beginning of this competition as though he was a little bit out of sorts, but he's pulled it together brilliantly. He goes clear.
And the difference, Steve, between Lavillenie there with that vault and his clearance in Oslo when he thumped the bar so hard at 5.81 and it stayed up is quite marked. That's building so nicely, that contest. 3 men now clear at 5.92.
So on the far side of this fabulous old stadium, women's steeplechase, and there you see Beatrice Chepkoech. Well, Tim was mentioning that she was beaten in the Kenyan trials, but she was beaten by the former world champion, of course. He was also in the race here, Hyven Kieng, who herself was a world champion back in 2015. There's Krause. We saw, of course, Krause, one of the best European steeplechasers around, and on her day can certainly give the Kenyan women a run for the money. Here is Kieng. So she won the championships, beat Koech. It wasn't fast, of course. They're at altitude in Nairobi, 8.25 thereabouts, I think it was. But it was Chepkoech's only outdoor race, and Chepkoech had such a good indoor season where she ran 8.31. Indoors flat, of course. She set a world record on the roads at 14.43 for 5,000 meters in Monaco back in February. And then the first time we saw her, or have seen her this summer, was at those Olympic trials in Nairobi. So is Chepkoech improving and ready to go at the distance at which she's dominated for so long. The world record holder on the outside, Kieng and Krause, looking to give us something to think about. And it has to be said that Kieng's been in very, very good form already this year. And an event where there's lots of women running quick. They've asked for a pace which will aim at around 9:10 or thereabouts this year. So pacemaking, there's only one pacemaker, Fancy Chirono, will have to get out there and do a very good job. Best job that she can, keep going for as long as she can. Around 3.3 the first kilometre they're looking for, and Chepkoech has already slotted in well behind her, and Kieng just watching, see if they've gone off a little bit hard through his first 200-300 meters. But there are 2 big names, second and third. In fact, Chepkoech moving out wide to get a look at the barrier there behind Chirono.
This is a bit ominous, Steve. She's gone out so hard and opening up a gap already with 300 gone. Now to Piotr Lisek. Third and final attempt at 5.92. He's already equaled his season's best. He's seen 3 men go clear. He knows he's capable, but not today. Not today. No. It's been a solid afternoon's work for the pole. But he'll be frustrated with that, having watched Duplantis pop over first time and Sam Kendricks and Lavillenie second time. I can tell you that Obiena has gone out of this height as well. He's had 3 failures, and now Lisek joins him on the casualty list. silver medalist in London 2017. Those World Championships in the Olympic Stadium, or the London Stadium as it's now called. Still smiling. These fellas enjoy themselves. They get an extra layer of enjoyment because they're such good mates. They're really good friends.
Yeah, fast pace being set here a little quicker than had been asked at this point, and so only Chepkoech following Chirono and Kieng kind of in no man's land there. She'll be hoping that Chepkoech can't hold this sort of pace, particularly when Chirono drops out, and that she's close enough to latch onto the back of Chepkoech. Chepkoech has done this on occasion, Tim, when she was at her best. She'd get out there and hang out there. But I think more recently, she still prefers to go out hard, but she hasn't always been able to keep that pace going. Every barrier moves out to get a sight, and even that takes up a little bit of energy. And Kieng is closing that gap. And I think in another 150 meters or so, could well be right on the back of Chepkoech here.
Well, they can't negotiate the water jump at quite the same speed as the men. They all take a good soaking, don't they, as they go through, even the best at this discipline. But it has settled down a little bit. The first kilometre split will be significant. They certainly attacked it for the first 400 metres, first lap or so, Steve. But as you said, it has settled down, even though the gaps are yawning.
2:57, Tim. They were asked for 3:03, which is why only the two of them have gone out at this pace. I think Chepkoech asked for that. I think she probably had a word with Chirono and said 3:3. Yeah. No, that's too slow. Go harder, because she's moved on.
Stall then. Now, set out his stall. And it's spelt Stahl, but apparently in local lingo, you do pronounce his name Stall. And his opener, 67.33. Remember, that gave him the lead after the first round. Che, 66.62. And Gudzia, 66.37. There were three big throws out in the first round. Che, by the way, has had a no throw in the second round. Gudzia couldn't improve, the former world champion. And now it's Stahl. Looked very relaxed, and he steps out there with his left foot. That's a no throw. He tops the world rankings with 70 meters 55. Just he and Che have gone over 70 meters this year. No, he didn't like it. I'm not sure he really battled to keep that one legal with the feet. So no change then amongst the first four in the discus.
Well, the women's long jump, what a great field we've got here again, including the world champion Mahambo, who's rounding into some brilliant form. Said she's been having a few problems with her run-ups this year. But the German, that's a good effort from her in the third round. So Mahambo, after a 6:52 in round one and another no jump from her, she was way behind the board on those first two attempts. That was much better. And contending with the wind on their backs, down the back straight, running in the same direction, if you like, as you would in the 100 meters. Finish line on the far side. That's better, as I said. So Mahambo will take the lead. 7 meters or 2, wind plus 2.6. Not illegal in the sense of a personal best record. Of course, it's not a personal best, but nonetheless, she takes the lead in 2-horse race in this steeplechase.
Well, it is, Steve, yes. And the gap's still huge. And Krauser there in third place, and that tiptoe style of hers is just trying to keep those two within range. The gap is still, what, maybe 20 meters? It'll be very tough through the second half to make an impression, especially when they've gone out at sub-9 minute tempo. But if she's going anywhere near that, then she could be on heading for a personal best here.
Yeah, they slowed a bit, Tim, and I think that's why Krauser's not so far adrift, but it's Kieng who's gone off now. There's Kendricks.
It is indeed Kendricks, yes. The bar was at 5.92 when he last cleared it, Sam Kendricks. The same result with that one on his first attempt at 6.02. Benola Villani, by the way, has already had an attempt, and he failed his first effort. He vaulted just before Kendricks.
3:04 for the second kilometre. Said it has slowed a bit. Still pretty quick. It's still quick for Krauser as well, because she's getting closer all the time. Although that's still a 15-metre lead from Kieng, and Chepkoech looks very tired. He'll come around with a couple of laps to go. Kieng, I think, really just needs to stick to a task here, and we'll keep moving away from Chepkoech. The question is whether Krause can use Chepkoech to try and reel her in and get herself close to the 9-minute mark, or maybe certainly under 9:10, because they did slow rather significantly. Perhaps not surprisingly, Tim, after a 2:57 first kilometre. I just don't think Chepkoech is in that sort of shape. It seems as though she doesn't know any other way to run. She just goes out hard.
You're right, though, Steve. Krause is closing. That gap's probably 12, 14 metres now. It was certainly 20 plus a lap or so ago. Back to this pole vault. The bar at 6:02 then. Oh, guess what? Guess who pops over first time when it's been beyond, at least at the first attempt, both Lavillenie and Kendricks. Only one man can make 6 metres look so easy. Takes it so casually. And there is more to come, there's no doubt about it. Everybody probably whispering to themselves, oh, we're going to see something very special here today. His world record from last year is 6 metres 18.
Yeah, I keep saying it, Tim, he'll be attempting it, that's for sure. When you've got a stadium with everyone wearing your name on the back of a Sweden shirt, then yes. Well, Kieng has set her stall out perfectly well here, and the real battle for second place on the last lap, I'm sure. The bell for Kieng, she's got this one, 7:54, thereabouts at the bell. So she could try and lift this, would be a super last lap to get under 9 minutes, but she's not that far away. So if she can finish really strong, he's certainly going to be close to that mark. So Kieng, the former world champion, the Olympic silver medalist from 2016, looks as though she's heading to Tokyo as one of the medal favourites, and has taken the mantle of #1 Kenyan away from her famous teammate, the world record holder, who's languishing behind, a good 20, 25 metres behind now, as she comes under pressure from Krause. But Kieng, with less than 200 metres to go, has run a very well-judged race here. She's going to be outside 9 minutes, but it's still going to be a very quick time for Kieng. And look at Krause, attacks that water jump much better than Chepkoech, comes off it hard as well. Those two are going to have a right royal battle for second place. Kieng takes the last barrier and now can just get her head down and head towards the line as Krause and Chepkoech battle for that second spot. Kieng takes the win, 9:04. Krause storming down the home straight. It's going to be just inside 9 minutes 10 for Krause. Superb run for her.
Back to the action in just a moment, but let's catch up on some of the latest athletics news from the last week. Sha'Carri Richardson, who won the 100 metres at the US trials last month, looks set to miss the Olympics after testing positive for marijuana. She had run the 6th quickest time in history at the trials, but has now been banned for a month. Meanwhile, teammate and defending Olympic champion Brianna McNeil-Rawlings and world 400-metre champion Salwa Eid Nasser are also out after appeals to CAS against doping violation bans were dismissed. On the track, it was a historic night at the Oslo Diamond League on Thursday. Norway's Karsten Warholm smashed one of the longest-standing track records in the 400-metre hurdles. Kevin Young's mark had stood since 1992. We'll see Warholm race in Monaco live on BBC 4 next Friday. Still to come, after his South American record of 47.38 behind Karsten Warholm in Oslo, Alison dos Santos of Brazil leads the men's 400-metre hurdles lineup, with Yasmani Capello of Turkey his most likely challenger for gold. Tokyo-bound Scottish sprinter Beth Dobbin will be amongst those other main medal contenders in the women's 200 metres. That'll also feature the 3-time world medalist Talu of Ivory Coast. And just to recap on some of the results from tonight you may have seen earlier in the coverage, but if not, rising Dutch star Femke Bol set a new personal, national and European under-23 record of 52.37 seconds in the 400-metre hurdles. That was edging out Shamir Little of the USA. That puts Bol 4th on the all-time list. As expected, double Olympic champion Valerie Adams of New Zealand took gold in the women's shot put with a throw of 18.64 metres in the final round. Okay, that's enough of the roundup. Back to the world feed and our BBC coverage with Steve Cram and Tim Hutchins.
might be an improvement. That might be an improvement. Still Stoll leading with that 67.33 opener. I'm not sure. Look at the flags at the far end. They're almost hanging limply. I'm not sure they are getting much help from the wind here. But Gudgius still throwing so well, the 2017 world champion. Only 30 years old. He's got years yet in this discipline if he wants them. 66.97, moves into second place, but brings himself within some 35 centimeters or so of Stoll.
400-meter hurdles on the track next, and it was still to come after that, the women's 200 meters, and we'll finish with the men's 1500 meters. But so much action still in the field. Stoll here with, would so love to get out to 70 meters, wouldn't he? Just, oh, he tries to hang on to that. That's better, it's getting closer. It didn't, you have to be careful with saying stalling and stall, because the discus does stall a little bit. You know, when he, I think it was his second round throw, you saw how quickly it came down. That one did flight a bit better. I think he knew, so he was trying to hang on to it. There's a bit of pirouetting for, oh, he didn't. Oh, I thought he had stayed in, but watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it.
Quite impressive, isn't it?
I've got it, oh no.
Ah, he battles it. Frustrated.
Work on that pirouette. Yeah, it's really hard to maintain your balance. You've got to put everything behind that and then have to pull some of that momentum back in. Talking about momentum, Duplantis got plenty of that as he watches the final attempts coming up for Lavillenie and Kendricks in the pole vault. Well, I'm saying final, Tim. If they get over, of course, it goes on.
It does a bit, and we want it to. We want to see that special vault from any one of these men here. So Duplantis popped over 6:02 at the first time of asking. It's proved too tough. This man, Renaud Lavillenie, the world record holder prior to the young Swede, on 2 occasions. So here we go, third and final attempt for Renaud Lavillenie. And he wants to get the crowd behind him, and they will. The wonderful thing about these guys, more than in any other discipline, is they support each other, even though they're rivals, even though they're battling for plaudits and positions and prize money, they will support each other. The crowd behind Lavillenie, third attempt at 6:02. No, not this time. But he's had a good day. Good day at the office. Second time clearance at 5:92. He's finishing up in third place on count back to Sam Kendricks, who popped over 5:92 at the first time of asking. Kendricks will be next to go. He too has had 2 failures at this height, so he's under pressure. Duplantis, of course, he can just sit and watch these fellas, and while they are all good mates, he can just relax, watch them expending energy, physical and nervous, and prepare for his next vault. The bar is due to move up to 6:07, Steve, but I think if Kendricks fails this third attempt for him and leaves Duplantis out there on his own, we might see something a little bit higher than 6:07 as the next nominated height.
I agree. You saw him with his tracksuit over his head. I think he's just getting himself ready for a... will he go 6:19? You know, that's the outright world record. 6:15 outdoors for him, 6:18 indoors. He did attempt 6:19 in Hengelo back in early June after he cleared 6 meters 10 on that evening, and he had 3 attempts at 6:19. And I think you're right, Tim. If Kendricks doesn't get over 6 meters 2, I have a feeling that Mondo will say, let's go 6:19, an outright world record, indoors or outdoors. Because if he feels it, I think he feels it today. Just, you and I both been seeing what he looks like, how he's vaulting. He's got the platform in terms of this stadium, the crowd, the home crowd, etc. And that's not to say we don't want Sam to get over this, but I think you're right. If he doesn't, it's the Mondo show.
In other words, normal service resumed. Kendricks well capable of it. This would equal his own. In fact, 6:02 for Kendricks would be a significant season's best. He's already set a season's best with that clearance at 5:92. Easy to forget, Steve, too, that Sam Kendricks is a 6:06 vaulter. Holds that US record.
Yeah, you know, and he's rounding into good form. I'm not sure that he's quite ready to go up that or higher than that, but 6:02 would give him huge confidence. Here he goes. So the stage is cleared. The others take their bows and walk off into the wings, leaving this man center stage in the spotlight. As Sam Kendricks is never is begrudging about that, is he? He plays his part, and he's improving this season into nice form, good form. He knows though he's got a way to go. He's playing catch-up. He says that, he's quite honest about that, isn't he, Tim?
He has been really honest this last couple of years about acknowledging Duplantis's pedigree, just the natural talent.
Okay, what's he going to say here? Oh, hold on.
That always helps.
Christian Che trying to respond to Stahl right on the edge of the sector there. I'm not sure that one's going to improve things now. Didn't quite catch it again. He's just struggling a little bit. Got this huge span. And just a little this time there, he knew it. Interesting, isn't it, Timmy? Just what he wears. He's got the cap and he always wears a t-shirt. It looks as though he's kind of walked in from the street and just thought, oh, we'll throw this.
I know, casual. Gudjus goes next. And he broached new ground in this contest, at least with his third round effort, 66.97. Nice series he's put together. 66.37, 65.85, and then 66.97 for Gudjus. Here he goes. He only needs to find another 36 centimetres to catch Stahl, who hasn't put things out of reach as yet. He's vulnerable as the reigning world champion. Gudjus, never broken 17 metres. He's knocking on the door with his lifetime best of 69.5. What can he do here? No. Very, very fast. Beautifully flighted.
You know, I've seen, obviously, over the years, Stahl the same and Che, they've thrown some big throws. I think it was in the European team's throws competition where the Slovenian threw his massive over 70 metres. Stahl has thrown some, in small meets in Sweden. And every time we come to Stockholm, it always, the Diamond League, it always seems as though, he gets the big build-up because of who he is. And then he's so desperate, you feel, to give the fans the big throws in this meet. And over the last 2-3 years, hasn't quite done it here in the Diamond League. But he's trying to get them behind him here. That previous throw was a no throw, if you remember. He just couldn't hold his balance, was getting closer. Looked more like about 68.5, maybe 69.
He's only had the one valid throw, Steve, look. That opener. And it's a slender lead. He'd love to put another metre or two on that. Oh, I think he just has.
He's off. Well, that you can just see with the flight the discus there, it's just hanging out there a little bit longer and then rewarded with what we think will be a lead. Yeah, 68-64 indeed.
Can you imagine this fella with a rugby ball under his arm? People would be bouncing off him. Whenever I see him set off at a pace like that, I think he could do some damage. That's a sport that so many of us love. Yeah, not bad. 68-64. Lengthens that gap a bit. Well, conditions have stayed beautiful throughout the afternoon and early evening in Stockholm. Temperature high, the wind just gusting around the arena, but they are reasonably sheltered on the stadium floor. It's the men's 400-metre hurdles now. The meeting record, by the way, 46.87 by Karsten Warholm from last year. Out in lane 8 is Kemar Mowat of Jamaica, third in their championships. Alison dos Santos, second in Oslo in a personal best. Great form the Brazilian is in. The Commonwealth champion, Karen McMaster, for the British Virgin Islands, goes in lane 6. Hasn't raced since Doha, back on the 28th of May. There is Erasmus Magi of Estonia, 6th in Rio. Recently ran a personal best for 400 metres, in fact a national record, Magi. Yasmani Kopello, World Championship silver medalist in 2017. He was third in Oslo, the Turk in lane 4. There's Amir Latin of the USA in the US Championships. Latin was disqualified from the first round. Wilfred Hapio of France goes in 2, their champion last week. And Chris McAllister of Great Britain, who fell in the UK championships last weekend, came 7th, got up and finished the race, but in a pretty meaningless 58 seconds. McAllister, by the way, has got a fascinating training tip. He says, drink Guinness for iron. Other drinks are available, by the way. He says, drink Guinness for iron. If you don't like it, then run with a smile and remember your goals every session. So we had a special race in Oslo 3 days ago, world record from Warholm, 46.70. He's not here, but this is still a very strong field. McAllister in 1, Hapio 2, Latin 3, Kopello 4, Magi 5, McMaster in 6, Dos Santos in 7. Watch him, he was second in Oslo. Mowat in lane 8. So Kopello, the World Championship silver medalist for Turkey, Cuban-born in the orange there, centre of picture, has gone off hard, but not as hard as Karen McMaster in lane 6 there, left of picture in the white. McMaster was really attacked the first half. He's well up on Dos Santos long before halfway, and he has blasted this one, the Commonwealth champion. 4th in the last World Championships. Remember, he comes here very fresh, McMaster. He hasn't raced for some 5 weeks. In the white vest, left of picture there. Oh, Mowat clatters that barrier. The 8th barrier so hard there, McMaster. That loses him the race, surely. Dos Santos making it nice and steady down the home straight, and McMaster's all over the place. He's gone down. Dos Santos wins by 7 metres from Kopello, 47.33, and that is another personal best for the Brazilian, if it's confirmed. He ran 47.38 for a fabulous second behind that world record of Warholm in Oslo. And here, despite the disastrous race of Karen McMaster, who just went off, I think, too fast for her first half and was fatiguing round the top bend, despite that, Dos Santos stayed clear of him round the top bend. And Steve, that is another big, big run. I mean, he's developing consistency, which, of course, is what all these great athletes look for. You want to be able to go into races not hoping you're going to do well, knowing you're going to do well, knowing you're going to have a strong run.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's just moved himself another couple of slots, notches up the world all-time list from 16th to 14th. In the meantime, world record attempt, Mondo Duplantis, 6:19 in the pole vault. First attempt, and he's human. For the first time, that looked a stretch, and it should be. It's the world record. And look at him, he's like, I can't believe I can't get over that. I'll get over everything. Just a reach there this time, isn't it? Because it's, you know, then, you know, the technique changes, of course it does, because you're going from, I've got this comfortably, and as he's talked about, you just have to believe that everything that you deliver when you're 6 meters and 6 meters 5, you do the same for 6:19. And I think it will come, of course it will. You know, he's vaulted 6:10 this year, as we said. He's got 2 more attempts at this, don't forget, but he wants to give this crowd something to cheer. But you're right, Tim, about McMaster. I mean, this is it. We've seen a couple of people, you know, the stick or twist from card game, where you're, all right, let's go for it. In the 400 hurdles, you go for it like that, you're going to pay for it. I'm just glad he came off uninjured there, because that looked a really bad fall. You know, sometimes when your foot goes down and twist over it. This one, he's tired, he clatters the hurdle.
He almost runs into Dos Santos.
He does well to avoid him. Gets over 1, and you thought, all right, he's going to finish the race. He's still going to get something, put something together, because he's still driving there, but then just cannot hurdle here. Gets right underneath it. And that there, oh, that's what I thought. And when I saw that happen, I thought, oh, that's a bad injury. He seems to have walked away.
By the way, Dos Santos' time 47.34 for the record. It was a personal best. Capello 48.19, and well, you can see McAllister there set a personal best, the only one in the race who did. Great run from him. Just punched the air with that arm to cross the line and get the extra 100th or two in 5th place. But Capello's second, Mo at third, 48.75 with the season's best.
Well, this discus with the expected Stahl leading hasn't really caught fire, has it, Gudzius? This is the 5th round, and that's not good either. That was a stall, as just walks out the front of the circle. So with that, we're at the final 3 there for the men. We know who they'll be. Check Gudzius and Stahl in the discus. Gudzius not able to improve, but didn't need to. So they've completed 5 rounds. We've also completed 5 rounds in the women's long jump, which is coming up in a second, Tim. But first of all, the final throw in round 5 for the local hero.
Stolen, 68.64. He threw in the 4th round to extend his lead slightly. Oh, no. Don't think that's any better, or was it? Maybe it was. He loves it. He's throwing consistency now, consistently. 67.33 is opener. So no throws. Had no throws in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. 68.64. You only need one massive one, remember, although they are going into the final 3 situation shortly.
So final 3 in the women's long jump, and we saw a good competition with these women the other night, but Bekra Manchuk in Oslo had 3 no jumps. But tonight she was back to form, or this afternoon rather, and a 6.79 in round 3 with a slight following wind, got her 3rd spot. And Spanovic, who came out on top in Florence, but 2nd to Mahambo the other night, again in good form. So good to see her back after so many injury problems, including stress fracture last year. 6.83 for Spanovic. And then Mahambo, the world champion, we saw a little earlier in round 3 with a following wind of plus 2.6, went over 7 meters, 7.02. She decided to pass in round 5. I suspect to keep herself fresh for this final round. Now, in Florence, Spanovic ended up winning the competition despite not being first leading into the final 3. Mahambo missed out on that occasion, but in Oslo, she got it right. So now it'll be Bekra Manchuk first, then Spanovic, then Mahambo. 1 jump each. Forget those 6.70, 6.79, 6.83 and 7.02. It's all about what they do in this round in terms of who wins the competition. So Bekra Manchuk.
She knows that this is carries so much more significance now. It's almost like you've been given another life. It all rests on these next 3 jumps. Who gets first, who gets second, who gets third? As Steve said, the previous 5 rounds are wiped effectively in terms of who wins the competition. Bekra Manchuk. Yeah, I thought so. Went well into beyond the front edge of the board. That's a shame. I don't know if she caught a strong gust of wind there.
That's what you do, I think, when you're in 3rd spot, Tim, isn't it? You've got to go for it. She's well capable, you know, the world silver medalist is well capable of putting pressure on the other 2, but just too much there.
Minus 1.5, actually, the wind there.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's completely switched around.
Well, it has swirled. I mean, her 2nd round was a plus 1.4. It's really hard for the athletes to judge their run-up correctly.
Spanovic then. 6.83, season's best for her in round 4. Getting better all the time, rediscovering her form. 31 years of age now. Just trying to compose herself. Mahambo next to go. Can she put the German under pressure here with a good legal jump? Familiar action of hers on the runway, and that's close to the board, wasn't it? Not a very long jump, though. A shake of the head. It's a white flag. That looked in the mid-6 meters, 650-ish, something like that. I would suspect him. I don't think that's going to put the German under enough pressure here. Right on the board.
Well, coming into this third round, Steve, this final round, rather, she was in second place, and she was guaranteed second place with Beck Romanchuk's no jump. 688. Yeah. Doesn't happen often to you, Steve.
I think I'm going to put a complaint in that graphic of where 7 meters is and 6 meters was.
They are.
Well, she shook her head when she got out of the pit. I think she thought...
Well, she couldn't see the superimposed line across the sand, Steve.
She and I were both mistaken.
Mihambo then. 7:02 in round 3. By far the longest jump of the day, but it will not win her the competition if she can't go out to 688 or further with this 6th and final effort. Spanovic has put a big mark out there. A season's best in round 4 was 683. She's just improved that with her final effort, 688. Mihambo here, well, she is the European champion. She's the world champion. She is normally so consistent. She's a 7:30 jumper, Mihambo. She's right up there on the all-time list, just outside the top 10. Many of those marks ahead of her were done in the 80s and 90s. This is a new era. Mihambo, though, is the best in the world, but is she the best here today in Stockholm? Oh, she takes her miles behind the board. I don't know, she has done enough. Gets the white flag. That teasing delay of lifting that white flag, but she has to get out of the pit, okay. That's what the judge is waiting for. But 688, Steve, if she has gone further than that, well, she's probably given away 20 centimetres. I'd like to see her foot on the board.
I'm just going to put it out there. I'd love to see Spanovic's jump again, because where she landed in the pit and where Mihambo landed, I think Mihambo it looked as though she was further, but yeah, obviously we're wrong. I'm wrong. And by the way, Spanovic was into a 2.4 headwind.
How can you remember the sand arrangement?
Not the stand arrangement, it's just the impression. It was funny because when Spanovic came out of the long jump pit, she shook her head herself. Anyway,
it's true.
Anyway, she's won.
Spanovic wins with 688 in that final 3 jump off. Mihambo has to settle for second with 677. Beck Romanchuk third in that long jump.
Second attempt. Already a meeting record. Well, no, this would be a meeting record. Second attempt. Well, just so if you're not too au fait with the pole vault, there was always an indoor record and an outdoor record. Because it's deemed that, you know, wind doesn't make it, of course it does. So outdoors it's 6:15, indoors it's 6:18. But this is now an attempt to just vault the highest ever, indoor or outdoors. Getting help from the experienced Renaud Lavillenie in terms of what the wind's doing. Second attempt, first attempt wasn't very close. Mondo Duplantis, world record attempt, 6:19. No, be careful.
One attempt left. One attempt left, he passed, of course, the automatic next height after his 6:02 clearance, which is 6:07. He opted for this world record height. Incidentally, been informed by on social media that Mahuchik put the bar up to 2:06 because that is indoor 2:07 because her personal best indoors is 2:06 incidentally. So many thanks for that, folks.
Yeah, it just goes back to that point with a high jump and the pole vaults. They almost have 2 personal bests, if you like.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because of the very fact that the guys are working out the wind and which way it's coming and etc. means it does have an effect outdoors. Of course it does.
Of course it does, yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people are a bit curious that... And in some nations, they do still define the difference between indoor and outdoor for that reason. I think the Dutch.
Okay. Well, we've got 2 events left, women's 200 and the men's 1500 on the track. And the conclusion of that pole vault, of course. And the conclusion of the men's discus. We'll have the final 3 of that coming up shortly. Lilia on the outside. Then we've got Beth Dobbin, the 27-year-old who's made the British team over 200 meters for the Olympics, second in the national championships. Talu, who looked superb, didn't she, the other night in Oslo? 10.91 at age 32, still going very strong, will be a contender in the 100 as well as the 200. And talking of which, Shericka Jackson, well, she's become the first Jamaican woman to run sub-11, 10.77 she ran in the Jamaican trials, sub-22 and sub-50. Of course, normally over the last few years, a 400-meter runner, but sprinting brilliantly. Akinason will be, the American will be in lane 4, 8th in the American Championships in this event. Masalingi, now Beatrice Masalingi of Namibia and Mboma, her teammates, have been asked to move down from 400 to compete in the 200. If we get a chance, I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, if I get the chance. Mo Hjelmer of Sweden, former European champion in 2012 in the Olympic year when the European Championships were held. And Van Hoenensten from Netherlands, who ran in the 100 earlier on before the Diamond League meeting got underway. I think she was 3rd in that, I think. And yes. So Shericka Jackson there, just to talk about her really, is now ranked number 3 in the world at this event. Gabby Thomas ran so well in the American trials, very quick. Of course, Asher Smith, the British athlete, won here superbly last year. 200, an event in which Shericka Jackson, everyone would have thought the 400 at the Olympic Games, but she's moved back to the event that she started her career at, the 200, and is sprinting so well at the moment. She's in lane 5, Talu in lane 6.
Set.
Oh, Talu fell out the blocks there, and then put your hand up. You can't put your hand up after you've fallen out. Be very interested to see what happens here. You've said, Tim, there's been slightly longer holds, but you are supposed to hold. And I just wonder, that wasn't a false start as such. She didn't try and beat the gun. She just overbalanced.
And she's raced, I mean, she probably races more than any other world-class sprinter, Marie-Josée Talu. She had a big win in Oslo on Thursday. She won in Lucerne on Tuesday. She's had a busy week, but yeah, she's experienced and she knows better than that.
Just a quick word, Masalingi was also very slow to rise. Just a quick word on Masalingi and Mboma, the 2 very fast 400-meter runners from Namibia, and everyone will know the DSD rules are now that you can't compete in 400 up to 1,500, so 5,000 and above, or 100 and 200 an option. Masalingi running the 200 here.
On your marks.
But no penalty for Talu. So Shericka Jackson, don't forget she was the Olympic bronze medalist at 400 meters. Her coach Stephen Francis said that's the future for you when she started out at 200, and now she's gone back, still coached by Francis, but what a year she's having at the sprints. 100 and 200.
Set.
Cleanly away this time, Talu bursts out of the blocks as she always does. Shericka Jackson already going well. Akinason up on her as well, but it's Talu leading with Jackson trying to give chase, and Masalingi in lane 3, not too far away. Where Talu's got this at the moment, but here comes Shericka Jackson with her strength, and it's Shericka Jackson who starts to come away. Jackson's going to win it. 22.1 into a very slight headwind. Talu just didn't have the legs in the end, and she's holding those thighs, which I'm sure are burning. The last 25 meters, that strength of Jackson, and that's, Tim, why a lot of people are beginning to say that Jackson will be a real contender. I heard Atto Bolden saying he thinks she'll win a medal in the 200, maybe even in the 100, because when you've got the 400-meter strength, you're going to run rounds, you're going to run fast races, but of course she's going to double up, we think, in the 100 and 200, so she will have to run back-to-back races. And incidentally, Masalingi coming into almost a new event for her, a national record.
Yeah, brilliant from Masalingi to take 3rd spot there. Couldn't hold Jackson down the home straight though. Now Mondo Duplantis then, 3rd and final attempt at 6:19. Already has a meeting record. The crowd willing him to do it. Neither of his previous attempts have been that close. His second attempt was a refusal in effect. There you can see La Villani trying to help him pick the perfect moment from the wind, and it reduces. You know, you're talking about such fine margins.
This is a bit like the man from France. There used to be an advert, the man from so-and-so says yes, doesn't it? The man from France says yes. Here we go.
He's improving the meeting record by 1 centimetre. Can he improve his own world record by 1 centimetre? No, not today, not in front of the home crowd. Maybe it'll have to wait for a bigger occasion. Certainly another occasion, that bigger occasion. Well, guess what's coming up in starting in 25 days' time, the track and field at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. It's been a good day all the same, another 6-metre clearance. It's a rare occasion for Mondo Duplantis these days when he doesn't hit 6 meters plus. He's still only 21. When you think that La Villani is 34, this lad could be improving for maybe another decade. And where will he take the world record to by that time? His own world record at 6:18 at the moment. I remember seeing him 2 or 3 years ago, Steve, thinking when he was popping over these massive heights. He won the European Championships. What is it? Was it at 17 in 2018 or was he 18? I forget. But I remember thinking, and some of you will say this is insane, but I remember thinking this lad's going to clear 6:30 one of these days. Eventually 6:30, 6:35.
I don't think you're wrong. You know, he's going to get higher. And just interested in this race, Tim, how Talu, you know, went off so hard. But Shericka Jackson just holds herself. Masalingi, you know, this raw talent who's obviously going to get better at the 200 meters, and that looks like a performance that will get her going to the Olympics at this event. But it's Jackson. Is she a contender, do you think, in this?
I do, yeah, because I think you're dead right. I think the rounds will have an effect, and Masilingi, for example, will be more of a force through the rounds with that 400-meter runner's strength. I think she'll sharpen up Masilingi. Now she knows she's got to focus on the 200. She's got nearly 4 weeks in which to really sharpen up and focus with hard work for the 200. So that extra speed work, we'll see her go faster, undoubtedly, in a month's time.
Shericka Jackson wins 20.1 exactly, 22.36. That is the season's best for Talu, and a new national record for Masalingi. Beth Dobbin, 4th place, 22.84. But yes, watch for Jackson when we get to Tokyo. 10.77 in the semi-finals at the Jamaican Championships. Of course, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price still on top, and in the 100 and the 200, really. But Jackson, there's only 10 women ever. I mean, she's the first Jamaican. Only 10 women ever have done that unique treble, if you like.
Duplantis winning the pole vault then with 6:02, a new meeting record. Kendricks a fine 2nd place, 5:92, a season's best. La Villani also 5:92. So the final round of this men's discus, and we're into the top 3 situation, and this is how they made it through to this point. In 3rd place coming into this 6th and final round, Che with 66.62. That was in the 1st round for him. That got him 3rd. Guzius, 66.97, was in round 3. Che, by the way, only had 2 valid throws in his first 5 efforts. Guzius had a couple of 66s. That was the best. Daniel Stoll, the outstanding favourite in front of the home crowd, opened with a 67-metre effort. Then in round 4, this one went out to 68.64. He fouled out in round 5, even though it looked pretty big. And that is the way it sits. Che will throw first, Guzius next, and Stoll will close the competition. But this round, as far as these 3 are concerned, is what decides 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Forget everything that's gone before. Opportunity for an upset. Che, as Steve has mentioned. Quite a contrast between the build of this fella. Only 22, the Slovenian. This monstrous wingspan. European under-23 record holder already. He threw 70.35 just last week, last Saturday, in fact. Well, that's around 65 meters. It's not as good as his 1st round effort, but it's his one valid effort in terms of where he can finish in this first 3. It puts down a marker for Guzius and Stoll to have a go at. 64.74. He'll be a little bit frustrated that wasn't better. But the contrast in the shape of Che with Gudzius here, who is really bulky and powerful, and then of course Stoll himself, who is a massive fella. Plenty of power behind that disc. Extreme contrast. Now, Gudzius, his 6th and final round effort, and that very, very similar. Well, 64.74 by Che. I don't think Gudzius has gone as far. I reckon that was about 64 meters. So he might have elevated himself in this final round from 3rd to 2nd, Christian Che. No, 63.43. Gudzius drops to 3rd. That's where he will finish. And now Stoll, can he put the competition beyond doubt? If he no-throws, of course, then he will finish in 3rd place, despite having had the longest throw of the day. That's the way this increased jeopardy of the final 3 system works. But 64.74 would do it. And surely the Swede can go further. And he does. And he does. Well, I think that might be almost as good as his 4th round effort, 68.64. It's certainly the best of this 6th and final round, and he is a more than worthy champion. These two reversed their positions in the 6th round. Che finishing 2nd, 64.74. Gudzius 3rd, 63.43. And the mark for Stoll, 68.23. Not as far as his round 4 jump, but by far the best of the 6th round. And indeed, it underlines, Steve, the fact that he's had the 3 longest throws of the day.
Yeah, dominant again, and you know, he usually is in Stockholm, and I know how much he wants to please the crowd. He knows that all eyes are on him, and why not? He's a massive hero of Swedish athletics. Just lovely wind up, and look at that. Nicely balanced this time. That was almost a disdainful throw. You know, you almost look really relaxed there. You thought, I only have to throw 64, 65 meters. I do that, you know, I don't know how many times a day he's throwing that far, but yeah.
But you know full well that in elite sport, the more relaxed you are sometimes, the better the performance comes out. You just let it flow, isn't it? The inner game, you don't think about it. You just let it
and
happen.
I think, you know, sometimes when he comes in front of his crowd here in Stockholm, that doesn't quite happen, that he really wants to, you know, produce the big throw. And you know, he's throwing far enough, of course he is, to win, but he knows that the others have got the opportunity to do that. There's a 2-3 of the Swedish athletes. I think Stoll was meant to join Duplantis on a bit of a lap of honour with the long jumper Sanya as well. I'm not sure she's there, but anyway, Mondo, as I said, well done to the organisers for handing out, I don't know how many, probably a couple of thousand shirts, Swedish shirts with Duplantis on the back. Well done. Autographs, is that allowed in COVID times? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think you can catch it off ink, Steve.
Off a pen.
Keep the pen.
He is, you know, he's a hero of the sport in terms of what he does for the pole vault, and of course when we get to Tokyo, it'll be one of the most watched events, I'm sure. Normally the men's 1500 would be as well, and normally we'd be expecting to see the name of Timothy Chariot, who's going to try and make it 3 wins in a row here in Stockholm. But the world champion, unbelievably, despite being the fastest in the world this year again, did not make it through the Kenyan trials. Finished 4th. Admittedly, not in the sort of race he enjoys normally, but he wasn't on game at all. He was leading at the bell and then didn't produce on the last lap. Rumours of injury, he limped off after that. His coach since saying, no, he's okay, and we'll see today. There is an outside chance he could yet compete for Kenya. We'll maybe get the chance to explain that, but he'll be wanting to prove that he's fit and healthy here. Ali Musab, one of the quickest in the world this year. And former Commonwealth medalist Ronald Kwemoy Another of the good Kenyans in here. Bergen also, he's not running quite so well this year. Bethel Bergen on the inside. So it's not a great field by the sort of field that Chariot would normally expect to contend with in a Diamond League meeting. That goes without saying. So I think the real question here is, what does Chariot have to do? First of all, to prove that he is fit and healthy. That's number one thing. And then there are apparently one or two issues over that are yet to be resolved, which I'll talk about in a second, about the three who made it into the team. Charles Samatwa won the trials, but Kamar Etiang, who's kind of was the surprise package. All athletes have to be involved in the drug testing pool for quite a period of time, particularly with Kenya being on the A list, if you like, of countries being looked at by the Athletics Integrity Unit. And because he's new, not sure whether that's going to be something which he's going to be able to comply with. But we'll keep that story going. I think for Chariot, Tim, what he has to do now is first of all prove he's fit and healthy, and whatever injury problems he might have had at the trials are behind him.
Well, those Kenyan trials were a couple of weeks ago. There was rumours of a hamstring injury, but it looks fine there in third place as he moves through 300 in a very quick, I reckon he was on about 41 seconds flat there at 300. He's gone off quickly. There is a strong rumour around that Chariot, pending full fitness here, may well be slotted into that Kenyan trio for the Olympic Games. We shall have to wait and see, but he has that usual forward lean there in third place, and it is quick, single file early on.
Yeah, two pacemakers here. The first one's been asked to go through, keep going as far as he can after that reasonably quick first lap there, and then it'll be Sign, who often does pacemaking for Chariot to try and keep things going, and Chariot would like a good hard pace here. I mean, he ran 3:30, Tim. He does still head up the world fastest time this year. So whatever he did pick up, he'll be hoping that he can produce something quick here nonetheless. So just settled into this. He doesn't mind the hard, fast pace, even though it's a bit obviously quicker, too quick perhaps for the others to contend with, but they've been sucked into it. So it's going to come round to complete 800 meters. It looks a little bit quick here.
Well, that first lap, Steve, 54.85 for the pacemaker. I mean, Chariot was behind that, of course, 57.47, 152.32. That is very quick indeed. Chariot himself will have gone through in about 153, so that's pretty much spot on. And he likes to run this way, doesn't he? He likes it to be fast and strong all the way. He's not into a massive last lap burn-up. He's not that sort of racer.
Sign, the pacemaker still leads. Then Chariot, Kazuzi's now moved into third place behind him. Bethel Bergen having a much better race. Musagala is there. Musab Fontes moving on the outside as well. But Chariot still doesn't look like he's moving that strongly for me. I'd normally see at this point, after they've slowed, that Chariot would be forging on. He looks a little vulnerable. Masuzi and Bergen right behind him. A very small gap to Musagala as they take the bell.
Well, about 2:37.5, 2:38 at the bell there, but he's got a whole bunch of men in his slipstream chasing him hard here. This is going to turn out to be a race. He goes through 1,200 meters. I don't think this third lap has been quite quick enough, has it? No, 59.3. It's been slow. Now, this really will test his speed, Steve.
Well, Masuzi is either swatting a fly or asking the cameraman to get out of the way. He wants space to go around Chariot, but he can't get round him. Chariot's still holding. Masuzi dips back inside. Fontes trying to look for an attack on the outside as well, as Bergen holds on to third place, and there Chariot now extends away. Not perhaps what we were expecting. We thought he might just go hard and stay out there, but he's sucked them all in and he's kicked away. This is him saying, I can still finish quickly. Fontes running brilliantly into second place, but it's all about Timothy Chariot at the front. It's still going to be pretty darn quick as well. 3:32.31. A smart run from Timothy Chariot, and he proved that he can turn it on. He's got a bit of acceleration. If he did have any hamstring problems, well, they've been banished with that performance there, because it wasn't just the normal Chariot go out hard and hang out there, but pace slowed, he slowed. The others thought they had a chance, tried to attack down the back straight, and away he went. Really, really impressive last 200 meters. And it's sometimes, Tim, you kind of go, oh, it was 3:32. That is still very, very fast, nonetheless, even with that slow patch in the middle.
Well, it was a strange old race. I mean, the pacemaker 54.85. Let's say that Chariot was probably, what, 55.3, something like that at 400. But the second lap, 57 seconds. The third lap, 59 seconds. But I think the sting was taken out of many of them with that first lap. You know, and 2:51 at 1200 is still pretty tasty running. And he covered his last 300 in around 41 seconds. So it wasn't blitzing fast, but it was the way that it sort of sucked the sting out of the others in the previous couple of laps. That's a big lead, Steve, down the home straight.
Yeah, and great finish from Fontes, who has run another personal best, 3:32.27, the Spanish athlete. So he's run really, really well. He ran a very good last 300, coming from about 5th or 6th place. But when you see the distance, a second that Chariot really took out of them all in the last 200 meters. I mean, that's a lot. You know, it wasn't, as you said, he didn't really burn down the back straight. It was just all in the last 150, 200.
And he looks so relaxed, doesn't he? He's glancing across at the clock there. Doesn't look stressed, doesn't look strained, no grimace, no furrowed brow. Looks very, very comfortable running at 3:32 there. Matter of fact, 3:32, in fact, from Timothy Chariot. When you think he's a 3:28 performer, Steve, he's run almost 4 seconds quicker than that. So when you put it in perspective, perhaps it's understandable.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one to watch, isn't it? What happens with the Kenyan team, whether or not they stick with their current selection or whether or not he ends up with a place in the team. Simotwo, as I said, won the trial, and Asbel Kipsang has been running very, very well this year. So the Kenyans could yet have 3 very, very good athletes if Chariot does get his place back. But that 1500 looks a little bit more open than it has done in recent years. You can't really say that about the pole vault, can you? You get the impression that man was the favourite, and well, one of Sweden's all-time greats there, also signing autographs in the crowd. Once an athletics fan, was it? Well, it's an athletics fan, an athletics hero.
Exactly.
But yeah, so what a great meeting we've had in Stockholm once again, and for all of the athletes, Monaco looms, and then Gateshead, the last 2 meetings before everybody starts heading off to the games. Those who've been selected, of course, and we should always say that not everybody is going to the Olympic Games, and many athletes, I think Tim was making the point, you'll still have full seasons ahead, and these Diamond League points and performances are incredibly important to them, even if they're not in the team. Are not going to be in the team, their own national squads. There's Kramer there on this side, and Montler in the middle, Sanya, the long jumper.
Yeah, kind of a send-off this, and this is all planned. A thank you from the athletes to the crowd for their support in the...
Well, what a great afternoon of action we've just witnessed. Our thanks to Steve Cram and Tim Hutchins for talking us through it all tonight. Remember, you can watch it all again via the BBC iPlayer. But here's a look at what else is coming up across BBC Sport. The Diamond League moves to Monaco on Friday. Join us from 7 p.m. on BBC 4 for all of the action. Gary Logan and the team will be live on Gateshead for the British Grand Prix. That's on Tuesday the 13th of July from 6:30 p.m. on BBC 2. Cricket, there's highlights of the third one-day match between England and Sri Lanka on BBC 2 from 11:45 tonight. And Wimbledon continues tomorrow. Coverage starts at 10:30 a.m. on BBC 2. Before we leave Stockholm, let's recap some of the best of the action from tonight. Femke Bol set a new national and personal European under-23 record in the 400-metre hurdles, edging out Shamir Little in 52.37 seconds. In the women's 800 metres, GB's Keely Hodgkinson was 4th, but her brilliant time of 1:57.51 puts her 3rd on the British all-time list in the event. Countryman Elliot Giles also set a new personal best in the men's 18 metres. But today it was all about in front of the home crowd. Armand Duplantis fell short in his world record bid, but took the win in 6:02 to make history in Tokyo Olympics. That'll be the target. Goodbye from us. We'll see you in Monaco at 7 p.m. on Friday.